Once the biggest freshwater lake to the west of the Mississippi River, Lake Tulare used to expand every winter as the nearby Sierra Nevada range supplied rain and melted snow to fill the basin. By 1920, however, the rivers feeding the lake were dammed and redirected for purposes like irrigation. In the mid-1900s, the lake essentially disappeared and was replaced with farms cultivating various crops. Currently, Lake Tulare is making a fierce comeback. The water is rapidly flooding back into the lake, swallowing up towns and farms, submerging roads, and reviving the so-called Ghost Lake. In this video, we'll delve into Lake Tulare's resurgence and its severe consequences for the region, its residents, and their way of life. Lake Tulare was a permanent fixture of the San Joaquin Valley once, covering an estimated 790 square miles, about 4 times the size of Lake Tahoe. It constituted a diverse wetland ecosystem that made up around 10% of California. Millions of birds and ducks inhabited this massive wetland, and indigenous groups lived along its banks. In the late 1800s, settlers started redirecting Tulare's tributaries for agricultural use, gradually drying up the lake and revealing nutrient-rich soil. Today, this former lake turned farmland is a powerhouse of agricultural production, with an estimated worth of $2 billion. Ghost Lake, as Lake Tulare is known, is a temporary water body that usually emerges during heavy rain. These lakes are relatively shallow compared to permanent ones. Before the water was redirected, Lake Tulare was about 37 feet deep. The hot and dry climate of the California Central Valley causes these temporary lakes to vanish quickly. OWENS Lake, located 220 miles north of Los Angeles, is another example of a once depleted water body that has recently been revived. Lake Tulare shares a similar story. It acts as a natural catchment area for the Sierra Nevada mountain range, which funnels meltwater through different rivers into the basin. At present, water entry into the basin is blocked or diverted by levees and dams, but recent storms have demonstrated that these systems have limitations in preventing flooding when faced with a significant water influx. Heavy rainfall and snow during the initial months of 2023 have once again filled Tulare's lake bed with water. Corcoran, the biggest city near the historic lake, is home to 22,000 people. NASA's satellite images reveal agricultural fields around Corcoran submerged in water. The images from March 1st and April 1st show a significant increase in the flooded area. In March 2023, California experienced 2 consecutive atmospheric rivers, leading to flooding along the San Joaquin River and a breach in the Los Angeles aqueduct.
2 communities in San Joaquin County are under evacuation orders right now because of the rising water in the San Joaquin River.
The Tulare Basin is prone to flooding, particularly during extremely wet years and when there is substantial snowpack on the Sierra Nevada mountains. The lake has repeatedly filled and dried up throughout history, but now towns and farms lie in its path. The lake bed flooded in the late 1900s, with 1969 and 1983 holding the record for the wettest years and near-record snow levels in the area. Numerous homes in the city have flooded, and several roads have been shut down. Smaller towns to the south, Allensworth and Alpa, faced evacuation warnings by the end of March due to water from overflowing rivers surrounding them. Agricultural activities in the basin have suffered severe damage, forcing farmers to move cattle from the area. The recent storms are caused by atmospheric rivers, long and narrow bands of atmospheric moisture originating in the tropics where warm air can hold more water than colder regions. As global temperatures rise due to climate change, the atmosphere's water-holding capacity also increases. Most of the water expected to enter the Tulare Basin has yet to arrive. A significant amount of snow still needs to melt and flow down from the Sierra Nevada mountain range, situated east of the San Joaquin Valley. Each spring, as temperatures rise, the accumulated winter snowpack begins to melt, with gravity pulling the meltwater down into the valley's lowest areas, making the Tulare Lake Basin particularly susceptible. In short, rain and snow cause the flood, but increasing temperatures exacerbate it. This year, the Sierra Nevada snowpack is 3 times larger than usual and continues to grow. An April 3rd snow survey by the California Department of Water Resources revealed that the statewide snowpack was 237% of the average for that date, ranking among the largest ever recorded. All that water will eventually flow into the San Joaquin watershed, with a significant portion passing through the Tulare Lake Basin. While an influx of water brings relief to many in California, by alleviating a long-lasting drought and replenishing reservoirs, it spells catastrophe for areas like the Tulare Basin. Inhabitants are already witnessing vast quantities of water threatening their way of life, and it's merely the beginning. If the current situation persists, this could be the worst flood yet for the Lake Tulare Basin. As Tulare Lake is a shallow, isolated water body with no tributaries or outlets, any water entering the basin remains there until it evaporates. The lake possesses an impermeable clay layer beneath it, stopping most of the water from seeping underground. Consequently, the water collected during this year's flood might take months or even years to evaporate entirely. This situation brings additional problems. Water is amassing in farmlands treated with fertilizers, pesticides, and other chemicals, possibly causing contaminants to become mobile. Animal agriculture on farms produces a significant amount of fecal waste, posing a risk of microbial contamination. As the lake bed overflows, sewage and toxic heavy metals will enter the water system, potentially polluting local groundwater and streams. Tulare County has already issued a health alert concerning floodwater contamination. Various solutions exist to reduce the flood threat in the Lake Tulare area, including restoring natural floodplains, implementing levee setbacks and recharge basins, and providing more space for water flow. However, enacting land use changes is no simple task. The San Joaquin Valley has a complex history of water disputes, and no single organization has the power to effectively address these problems. Decisions about water distribution are often made by private landowners, leading to unauthorized activities and political clashes. As for the current situation, it might be too late for any significant action this spring, leaving the only option to withstand the water influx and minimize the damage as much as possible. The challenge now is to plan long-term for future floods. For the time being, the destiny of communities along Lake Tulare's shores will be closely linked to the water. Rainfall, snowfall, and snowpack will be significant concerns in the coming months. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment.